my deep honor to present to you Mr. Robert Rebein. He's one of our own. Let's give him a nice welcome.
Thanks so much to all of you for coming out. This is a great honor and a great pleasure for me. And you know, I was thinking about the Dodge City Library when I was driving over here tonight, and I thought, you know, my memories with this place go back so far. My first memory is I remember one time, it's a very vivid memory, it was when the library was still over at the Carnegie Center, and I was riding around in my mom's 1967 Buick LeSabre, and she had a bunch of books that were going to be late. And it was raining hard, and I remember I was laying in the back seat of the car, no seat belt, anything like that. She pulled up to the front, ran up to the door, and tried to get in, and the door was locked, and it was too late, and she couldn't get in. And I think at that time the return book door was on the back of the library, at least my memory of it. She had to run around to the back of the library, go in there and put it in there. And I remember I was a little kid in that car, and I thought, this is the greatest thing in the world. They got a hole in the door. You know, if you're late or whatever, you can just put it through there. I thought that was so great. I also vividly remember my mother taking me to the library when it was down here on First and Gunsmoke, going up those stairs to that circulation desk and getting my first library card. It was blue. Library card with a little piece of embossed metal on it. Some of you probably remember those. The librarian rolled it into a manual typewriter and typed my name, Robbie Rebein, on there and handed it to me, and I thought, this is just the ticket to the world right here. I carried that thing around with me. When I moved away from Dodge City, I still had it, and you could still use it at that time. When I studied in England and when I was in North Africa, sometimes I'd be pulling something out of my wallet and someone would see that and be like, what is that? And I'd pull it out and I'd say, that's my library card from Dodge City. But when I moved back to the United States after being abroad for a while, and the library was here then, I came in here and I actually tried to use that card here. And they told me I had to get a white one with the red letters, the kind that you all have. But, you know, when I did come back in 1990, I spent a summer here working for my dad, as I often did in all the years when I came back in the summers. And I wanted something to read, and I came in here, and by then I had lived away from here long enough that I had become really fascinated with this place and its history. And I can remember going back to the back of this building right here, behind the glass case where they keep all the Kansas historical books, and getting out Robert Wright's book about Dodge City, the cowboy capital in the great Southwest. Tried to take it out. They told me I couldn't take it out of the library. Had to sit here, read it. Sat in here for 2 days and read that book. And this was a book by a man who knew Dodge City so well. Had been one of the founders. Had lived here for years and had written this book. And I remember when I finished it, thinking, you know, wouldn't it be great someday for me to be able to write something about this place that I'm from that could be half as good as what Robert Wright's book was. So, you know, recently I've been working on some pieces. I'm going to read to you tonight from just a couple of paragraphs from the title essay, which was published in this magazine, Echo Tone, a magazine about place. And then I'm going to, after I finish reading that, I'm going to read for you an excerpt from another piece that's forthcoming. It would be out right now, but the journal, the magazine that's publishing it is in New Orleans, and Ike kind of set their publication schedule back a little bit. So this first piece is called Dragging Wyatt Earp. I think when the book of essays comes out, this will definitely be the title of the piece. And I just want to read a couple of paragraphs from this piece just to give you a flavor for it. For a teenager suffering the boredom of the cowboy capital circa 1980, the only thing to do at night, so we all said, was to drag Wyatt Earp. By this we did not mean, as the image would suggest, that we would pull the 19th century lawman through the street by his boot heels, but only that we'd cruise up and down Wyatt Earp Boulevard in our beat-up Chevrolets and hand-me-down Buicks, searching for that elusive bit of excitement that always seemed to exist just outside our reach. Wyatt Earp to us was not a person, but a place. a mile-long ribbon of asphalt that stretched from Boot Hill on the east to the Dodge House on the west, containing in that brief space all of our teeming and awkward adolescence, our collective longings and flirtations, and our often ridiculous mistakes, few of which we had to pay for in any meaningful way. Dragging Wyatt Earp was a ritual and a clearly demarcated rite of passage, one that began at 14 or 15, the years when most of us were beginning to drive, and that ended 2 or 3 years later when the pool halls and beer joints and lakeside keg parties began to absorb us. Had we been city kids, we'd have been hanging out at the mall or the Cineplex. But we weren't city kids, and Dodge was a suburb of nowhere. Hundreds of mostly tedious miles from Dallas, Denver, or Kansas City. And there was much that we would never do or see before the age of 19 or 20. But we could drink and drive. Both at early ages and in plain sight of the police. A kind of unwritten law had been established long ago. So that's a little bit from the Dragging Wyatt Earp piece. Those paragraphs I've read are actually reproduced on a small little poster that we're selling to raise money for the library. I'll be happy to sign any of those if you want one after the reading. The piece I'm going to read to you today, I think it's about 20 minutes long, so you won't be fanning yourself for too long. It's called A Most Romantic Spot, and like all of the essays in the collection that I'm working on, it mixes personal experience with history and research that I've done into history. I'm not a historian myself, but I'm interested in it, and my reading really influences how I feel about this place, and it's a big part of who I am, but also my recent explorations too. So this essay kind of mixes the two together, and I hope you enjoy it. The title of the piece is called A Most Romantic Spot. And